The honor and the pleasure, as always, Reggie Wright Jr. on Too Cool to Con. Hey, how you been doing, Reggie?
Man, good. How about yourself, Reek?
Pretty good. I was gonna say, like I said, I've been catching you. You're everywhere over this particular platform called YouTube. So you're staying busy.
Well, when a nigga is laid up in the house, you got a lot of free time. You can devote a lot of time to a lot of stuff that you normally would be devoting your time to.
Yeah, that's true. The questions I wanted to ask you today, because it seems like, I don't know if it's just me or it seems like a lot of questions are dedicated towards a man that walked this earth about 26 years ago, and that would be Tupac Shakur. And since you were you knew what was really going on. You hear people say that they heard things, but when reality comes out, they really didn't know anything. What do you feel about? I want to say it's called Xenon Films. They did a lot of those documentaries about Tupac. Do you think they gave more clarity or they gave more controversy when it came to referring to that man's life?
Well, you have to tell me the particular shows. Because I don't know them. If you're talking about those fools that did the Battle for Compton and all of that, those are crackers that's have nothing to do with his life, that's just out there just putting out anything to suit their agenda.
Yeah, I want to say it's Welcome to Death Row. It's that Before I Wake, your former employee that he teamed up with that person that put that documentary out. Matter of fact, I watched that documentary recently, and I peeped where he was reading a lot. So to me, that feels like it's scripted. If you got to read instead of kicking it from your heart, how you felt or dealt with this person, it don't seem genuine.
Yeah, the guy you talking about is Frank Alexander. Is that the one you talking about?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
This is a man that did all of that, and anybody that's been around and follow all of this stuff knows that him and Kevin Hackey still alive. I talk to him probably about once a month, twice a month, and he since apologized, sent a letter that I posted up on Bomb First. Okay. All the guys that did all of these videos were just doing it for a quick profit. There's some things that's accurate or factual, but majority of it was motivated by clout chasing or money. And so some people say, well, that's what you're doing now. No, I'm trying to unbrainwash a lot of you stupid motherfuckers that believe that stuff, because now my kids are older and they're able to read and hear the platforms, and my son has the same last name that I do. And I'm just trying to put out clarification for the little time I have left on this earth, right, and clarify all of this stuff that people have been misinformed about, because I was moving too fast, and I used to hear about this stuff, but if I'd known about this stuff back then, and the position I was in, a lot of these crackers would have lost their houses or never been able to put a house or anything in their name, because I sure would have sued their ass back then.
Right.
But because most of this is this defamatory and opinionated and outright lies. You got people that still, Keefy D that came out and professed to all this stuff. And they still want to put my name associated to this stuff. After this man done told y'all what happened. I can't stand that man. When I call that nigga a crackhead or something like that, if me and him was cool or conspiring, or I made him, or Greg Kadings made him tell that story. Well, Greg Kadings won the LAPD case, which is the Biggie Small case. He don't care about a crime that happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. Right. He's a Los Angeles, California police officer. But that's these stupid, little young kids that want to keep pushing an agenda and get a laugh in YouTube comments and make all of these fake, false videos and information and put it in comment sections. And it's just not true. Right. But, I'm to the point where, hey, either you going to believe what people are saying or you're not. And why would Keefy put himself out there if it wasn't somewhere true? Oh, okay, because he was told to say that by Greg Kading. Greg Kading didn't care about a Vegas case. He wanted to solve the LAPD case. That's where he worked at. But that's too deep for a lot of the youngsters.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, now we're in a day of, where it's just things on the internet where it used to be like magazines and actual journalists that wrote in magazines or books where you can, okay, they wrote this here. You can fact check it. Now it's like you said, there's a bunch of internet people where you can't really back up the facts unless you're really talking to the actual people that has some dealings with, whoever it may have been.
The most unfortunate thing about this whole situation is you can really pretty much say anything because none of us will really take the time to sue people or take them to court. Because what people don't know is most of these people are what we call judgment proof. Even if you sue them, you got no money, ain't got no house, living in their mama basement,
right,
or on the computer all day. So what good would that do for you? Unfortunately, people are saying that they can defame you and say things about you that that's not true and get away with it.
Right.
Yeah. But like you said, back in the day we had journalism. They had classes, worked for big prints and stuff like that where they could just say stuff. They wouldn't say something. They wouldn't print something if they only heard it from one source.
Right.
They would call it, where YouTube, they said and just read something and said, oh, this is my opinion on it, and then throw it out there.
Right. Or was it the new one that got reaction videos? Well, I'm just reacting to what this last person said or something like that. That don't mean it's any kind of fact. It's just someone's reaction. It ain't anything.
Exactly.
Now, I was going to say, what's another one that I don't think I've heard anyone ask, but back in '96 when it came to the fight, how did Tupac get to Las Vegas? Like, how did he go from LA to getting to Las Vegas at that particular time?
Yeah, they drove in a caravan. He drove with Kadada Jones and two of the outlaws, Gaddafi and Edie. Those four was in her Lexus. She had a Lexus coupe, some type of Lexus, SC400, I believe it was. And so, but Suge drove in the BMW that they were shot in. The producer that's out there, Problem Child, David Thomas, that y'all just saw Vlad recently do an interview. The guy that was first married to Kim Kardashian, he's the guy that y'all hear about in that caravan that flipped over his Viper on the way out there. It was a trail of probably about 10 to 15 cars that all drove from Cali, from Los Angeles area to Vegas, which is, for those of y'all on the East Coast or the Midwest or whatever, it's about a 3 hours drive straight down the 15 freeway.
Okay. So
it's an easy drive for us. We just get on the 15 and take about 2.5 if you fly, 3 hours, 3.5 if you stop. And that's where you'll hear about the story at the In and Out with in Barstow, where Tupac got into a little fight with some, or they got into an argument with some kids on the bus from Long Beach Poly football team. If y'all haven't heard that interview, go check it out. It's on the Dialogue channel, and they describe what happened on that incident. But yeah, so they caravan from LA to Vegas on the day that Saturday.
So you're saying they were just in her Lexus? That was like
just those four, but it was a caravan.
Okay.
Like I said, it was about 10 or 15 cars that rolled up there. But who Pac rolled with was those four that I mentioned.
Okay, because this is why I asked that, because YouTube got all kind of videos, and I don't know when this video was shot, but it shows Tupac in a RollsRoyce, and it looks like he's in front of MGM Graham, and it's a Caucasian reporter. I think she's British, and she's saying lovely car, and he said, yeah, Tyson's gonna do it, and then it's real packed. Yeah. So I'm like, is that then, or was that previous, or when was that shot?
You hit it right on the nail on the nose. That was 2 or 3 fights prior to that.
Okay.
Tupac was out there in Vegas for 3 different fights.
Okay.
That happened. We were out there for 4 different ones. One prior to Tupac coming with us and signing to them for.
Okay.
But he was up there on 3 different occasions prior, and that was the fight before when you see the picture of him, and even that was actually in the parking lot of Club 662 when you see his and RollsRoyce parked next to each other, and Pac kind of hanging out the window taking a little picture. But that was actually at Club 662.
Yeah, because I always wonder, because, you know, they always show the clip, but they don't say where it was took or anything, so that make a person think, oh, this is him during fight night. And, you know, when, like you said, it was, you know, prior to that particular event.
Correct.
Now, I was going to say, now, as far as, like, Suges BMW, like, what happened to it? Because, I mean, I remember how they said in the media back then, you know, it was brand new, and he had just got it. How would he end up losing it if he had just got it and they were victims of, you know, being shot at? Because, you know,
losing what? Losing what now?
Losing that black BMW. Because, you know, it's in that museum and, you know, they reworked it and all that. Is like, what had happened? What happened to the car after that happened is what I'm saying.
It was shot up. It was in the guy that was the general manager name at the time, Norris Anderson. Man, shit, nobody cared. Nobody knew that all of this stuff was going to become as valuable as stuff that became. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody depicted that Tupac was going to become. We look at Tupac as famous and all of that, but man, it was other people out there that were just as big as Pac then.
Right.
We, as a community, that made Pac bigger than what he was in '96.
Do you think that's helped with the people that like you said, people that didn't know nothing about him, just a cash grab, you know, making it be like that? Or was it just, you know?
I totally agree that this community, this Tupac community, is what's keeping his legacy alive and popular, like a Elvis or Bob Marley.
Okay.
When the last time you asked about Big Pun?
Right.
Or, you know?
True.
People, who else died around that time? And they, you know, he had good songs and stuff. I'm not comparing Big Pun to Pac because of the longevity. You know, only reason Biggie, in my opinion, has the success he has is because of Pac.
Right.
But you haven't heard, Pac didn't have 5 albums that came out since his death. How many has Biggie had?
Right.
But we still put him in the same breath. We give Tupac, you know, put him in the Hall of Fame, rock and roll. Then we put Biggie in the next year.
Right, I think
Biggie didn't deserve one yet.
The only other person that may not got it is the opposite effect is and some may not like hearing it, is Old Dirty Bastard, and around the same time Mac Dre. Mac Dre, people still, you know, talk about him like heavily right now. But I love the band. I love the music.
You love the band music. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're like, Mac Dre, who?
Right.
I'll tell you how bad Mac Dre was. I know dudes from the Dre Lover. I accidentally assigned this rapper named Mac Shine thinking I was about to get Mac Dre. I went up to the president and said, hey, man, Mac Dre want to sign with us, you know, sign and do something with. He said, for how much? I said, he going $75,000. And Dad's got about 4 or 5 songs already done, and we can hold those songs. He said, do it. I brought him up. He said, have him come visit me at the visiting room.
Right.
He come walking in. He said, Reggie, who the fuck is that? I said, that's Mac, you know, Mac Shine. He said, nigga, you said Mac Dre, not Mac Shine. I still laugh at that. He said, we fucked up, man.
Damn.
We signed the wrong motherfucker. But yeah, that's Mac Shine. Y'all see him a lot on the Instagram with Dad. Him and Dad are still tight.
Yeah.
With Mac Shine, I hear his name kind of bad out there in the Bay, but he's still a good dude.
Yeah.
Kind of think he went dirtier, some niggas say, but they always put no jackets on niggas, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me pull back up. I don't know. My questions done went black. I gotta pull them back up.
Okay.
Let me see. That's what I was gonna ask you. Back to that BMW situation. Why do you think they reworked the car instead of keeping it just like it was? You know, I think when I say that, because you know, what's it, Bonnie and Clyde, when that car got shut up, it's in a museum somewhere. It's still the same way that it happened, instead of, being, redone.
Nobody was thinking. Whoever bought it wasn't thinking. They wasn't thinking. Even though they still trying to get $2 million for it, but they wasn't thinking. To be honest, I did get a call about a year or two later about the car, saying that they wanted to do something like that. But we had already let the car go back and get turned in.
Okay.
But it was somebody that was thinking to do that back then. And that was the example of the car that they burned up. Was the Bonnie and Clyde, because it was on display.
Yeah.
Out there in Vegas. So.
Yeah, because the only
They
other
was even talking about putting they wanted the artwork, or they wanted to put a Tupac on. You remember they had a picture floating around with like disciples, like Jesus said with the disciples?
Yeah.
And we were going to have a bunch of people like Sammy Davis Jr., Tupac, and all of that. They wanted to put him at a table with a bunch of celebrity people at like a table, like the Last Supper table. So people had started coming around, but not when it first happened. All of the ideas came up a year or two later. And by then, the mother had that control over the likeness list because of a deal that we did with her. Okay. And so I don't know what happened with those deals. Yeah.
Now, so far as like with your company, like was it? Did you have like non-disclosure agreements with like your people, or was it after they got done working with you they can talk and say stuff? Because I'm like, how did the dude Frank get to being able to have a deal if he was under your employment and things like that? Like, how did he get approached like that if he was working for your company? Is what I'm saying.
He was working, but he immediately got fired and went up under the FBI and went into hiding and all of that stuff. And we was trying to serve him because we wanted him to come and testify on Suge's behalf for the hearing. But by then he was hiding and, was now we know, considered a informant for the FBI and all of that, being protected by them. But, it's obvious we didn't do anything wrong because we never got arrested for anything involved in any of those things. But hey, snakes are snakes. Niggas gonna be disloyal, and that's what he was, a big old fake, phony ass nigga.
Now, was he ever a cop, or was he just security?
Well, he represented himself like he was. He had a badge and ID that he was for Orange County Sheriff Department, which we found out it was after investigating after the fact that he was just a jailer, civilian employee in the Orange County jail system, and not actually a police officer. But he carried his gun and stuff like that around as if he was one.
Okay. That's something, because they always pose it like, oh, he was official. I've never heard what you just said ever.
Jailer.
Oh, another thing my partner wanted me to ask you, because he said, yeah, I watched that thing, and I heard it was a thing where he got the footage for that, the footage that he did have in that Before I Wait. He got it from his niece and never paid her for, using any of it. I'm like, wow, that's
she exposed him to show you what type of dude he was.
Yeah.
His own family member, his own niece that was, handicapped. And he's just an opportunist, man. Just an opportunist. And, hey, but I got to give him credit. He was not ahead of his time, but he was one of the first of the trailblazers to benefit or profit from this. A lot of us didn't want to or didn't need to, but he did it. That'd be just like me hating on L.T. Hutton. L.T. Hutton, the guy that put out the All Eyes on Me video, he was living in dog pounds and hanging around Snoop Dogg and all them. But he took the opportunity and went and made it happen. Can you hate on somebody that go and make something happen? You shouldn't. Just because they have the foresight to say something, why hate on them? And but LT had no reason or no business putting out being the one that put out that movie. Because he had very little, if anything, to do with Tupac's life. You know, which we all only knew Tupac for 11 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so to say any of us had any rights would be for somebody that you only know for 11 months. Can you really say that?
Yeah.
But, you know, we did, like I said, I feel that I could speak on anything from 95 on because I was an instrumental part of it, like from 95 up until now. 4 of the 5 albums that he put out after his death, I was responsible along with the estate, Tom, Wally, and Molly, to getting them done and executing them. So, yeah.
Now, since I know you know about the music business, I want to get your take on this, and then I'm gonna ask you another question that kind of goes back to someone in the music industry, and tell me your take on it. I think it was about a couple of weeks ago when they were, you know, Beyonce came out with that new album Renaissance, and Khalees had something to say because one of her songs was used on there, and she felt that was wrong. In that whole situation, who do you think was wrong in that? Do you think Khalees was wrong? Do you think Beyonce was wrong? Or do you think the producers were wrong?
Well, ultimately, the artist or the producer of the album is wrong, which is lately probably will be Jay-Z or Beyonce, because they have the final say-so. But, man, as long as you're paying somebody, you can do whatever you want. Just like those dudes in New York, they weren't happy that Snoop and them used the beat for New York. To what later turned out to be a diss song to New York. But guess what? The original people who beat it was the ones that made the publishing money off of it. Well, what's happening? As long as I'm eating and getting, man, whatever. Right. Whatever. You know? Now, you could sue somebody and do a system dispute, you know, if you don't approve it. But usually people just go ahead and pay them the 100% of the publishing of the music or whatever. But they're not going to pull the albums off the shelf. But Beyonce probably just did it because she was like, I don't need the headache. Your album, that verse is not going to make or break my album sales. Right. It ain't going to do nothing but cause me legal problems down the line. So if I got to pull it out, luckily it's not like a CD, how we used to have to make CDs and then pull them all. Yeah, the hard copy. Luckily it's on the streaming. They just pull it out, put a new verse, a new digital or stream up, and call it the day. All right.
So you don't think that falls with the production? You don't think? Because didn't Pharrell did her beats, and you figure.
Like I said, if I sell you something that you buy it, whose fault is it?
True.
If I listen to it, sell it to you, you buy it. The ultimately buyer is the executive producer. Not even the artist. But most artists don't know shit about the business.
Okay.
They don't even know that it's wrong to do it. And so sometimes you gotta, you know, listen to the people that's supposed to know. And that's ultimately falls back on the executive producer.
Now, I was going to say, have you seen that? I think it was a series, it was streamed, but I got it on actual DVD, the Defiant Ones, with Dre and Jimmy Iovine.
I saw that.
So essentially, Jimmy Iovine is like how he said it in the film, controls all the producers.
Correct. Jerry controls the whole industry now. Him and Doug Morris, well, they did, you know, now Jimmy doing stuff with Beats and Apple and all of that. But he still run everybody because he put all the people that's in place over at IGA, which is the Interscope Gap and AM.
Yeah.
He put all them in place. The dude that was over promotion at the time is now running it. A guy by the name of Steve Berman, that's his boy. That, you know, y'all saw him in the video with Eazy-E and when, you know, and Dre Day, when they were dissing Eazy-E and all of that.
Yeah.
The heavy set white boy That's Steve Berman.
Yeah.
And he's running all IGA now. And that's Jimmy Boy. And so I'm saying that to say Jimmy is who Jimmy say he is. He's been having a lot of power for a long time, and he was tight with Doug Morris and Clive Davis and all of them.
Yeah.
And you know, those are the hit makers. Those are the guys in the music business. Those are the men behind the men, as we call them.
There's one that I remember back in the day that my pops, you know, told me about. I'm like, you don't never hear about this, but you know, Clive Davis was behind Milli Vanilli. He was the one that knew about them not being able to sing, but he never caught no flack over that.
Yeah, the man behind the man, yeah, you know, him. He had your boy, what's the other guy? I mean, the guy that played the guitar real good, Julian. Clive is behind, like I said, a lot of them are behind a lot of people.
Yeah.
He goes all the way back, way before Whitney and Santana. You know, he was behind all of them. He was, you know, so Clive and them, and Luther Vandross. He was behind all of them. But, you know, this guy, you ever check out a picture called the Black Godfather?
Okay.
This guy named Clarence Avant. That's the guy who they made a big thing out of when his wife got killed by that fool in the house about a year ago.
Yeah.
In Beverly Hills. He's a guy that he controlled like Quincy Jones and Barry Gordy and all of them. So I'm telling you, everybody have a man behind the man that's out there. And yeah, Jimmy was had the very foresight to say a lot of things that was going on, and he's been hitting home runs since about '94. You know, he had Marky Mark and Tupac and all of them with Ted Fields, with Interscope. He's been hitting home runs for a while. No bat. I mean, 9 Inch Nails. Carolyn Manson.
What's old girl from No Doubt? Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, Gwen. Yep, that was his girl. I think they were even dating at one time. Gwen Steph. So Jimmy has helped mold a lot of people's career. But Dre was always his favorite. And that's who he hit the home run with. That's where he became a billionaire behind. Yeah.
So, like, I say for like up and coming artists or artists of today that, you know, want to, you know, go bigger. And when I say go bigger, either if they're contemplating just staying on the internet and winning like that, or signing to a major, would it be better for them, in your opinion, to have like management, just be signed to some type of management, or going directly to the record label?
It depends on what you want. If you want the money or the shine, if you want the money, you can make $6-7 a record independent. But those dudes that E40 before he became and went to Wonder Brothers and all that would be lucky within the first 2 or 3 years. I ain't gonna talk about overall, but the first 2 or 3 years that this shit went gold, he was a happy man. But he was making $6 a unit off of that. Where if he was signed with a major, he might have would have sold $2 million on that. But he would only made like $1 a record. Now he wouldn't have had to put out no money. He wouldn't have had to front no money because they would have paid for everything. And he would have been able to do more shows. He would have had more videos on BET. He would have been on MTV and stuff like that. So it's all about what you really want. If you want the bread, or do you want the shine? Do you want a little bit of bread and a lot of shine? And that's why you know the artists like Biggie and Pac and all of them, because they were signed with majors.
Right.
Where you could name a whole bunch of brothers from the Bay and you know, our boy Tech Nine and people like that.
Right.
That did okay, sold a lot of, sold a few records, got a little bit of money. But you say Tech 9 to 10 people, probably only 3 to 4 people know him.
Yeah, that's true.
Where you gonna say Snoop Dogg, Biggie Small, Tupac Shakur, 9 out of those 10 people know him. So that's, the difference.
Now, what kind of percentage do the distributor get versus, like, a person that, got the artist and,
It depends on what they putting out. I done seen it anywhere from 20 to 30%. I think P's deal was 80-20, but P was paying for everything. And they said, hey, put my shit in the stores.
Okay.
Where I read somewhere recently where, I don't believe it, where Baby at Cash Money tried to say he had a 10% distribution deal.
Yeah.
I never heard of one that low. I think P eventually towards the end got his down from 20 to 15%. I do remember hearing something like that. But they were fronting up everything. Suge deal was 50-50. You pay for everything. That means Suge didn't have to come up with no money. They advanced him a fee to live, which was $1.5 million a month, was his advancement. Now that's recoupable though. That's recouped. But they gave me to live and to take care of stuff. But then when I finish an album, you're gonna give me another advance based on that album I finished, but it all gets recouped. And then you pay for my videos and promotion and my tours and anything I can think of to come up with, hotel rooms and anything I can think of, you pay for. But then at the end of the day, when we all make the $60 or $70 million, we take off everything we spend and then we split that down the middle. What deal would you want?
Right.
Master P deal was, no. I'll pay for everything. And y'all just get 20% of what I get or what comes in. Okay. Y'all give me my 80%. So you never know. But Suge's deal was he owned his masters. I don't know if he owned his masters. Guys didn't know about owning their masters until Suge started talking about owning the masters and stuff. And so after like 98, 99, when I was running the company, we took all the masters from Interscope and we started shopping it around. We took it to this company called DNA that was up in Sacramento. We took it to Priority first, then the DNA, and then eventually the Koch, where it's been at ever since then, which later became E1. Yeah.
Now, as far as back to, I watched a clip and it showed, when, Pac died and, his mom, none of those cars was his. Okay, if they wasn't his, what happened to him after everything was said and done? What happened to him? Where did those cars go?
Well, some was his. Like the Jaguar was completely in his name. The 500 Benz was in his name. The Hummer was in his name. Because those were stuff that Suge had worked out deals on, where, he got people to buy them and pay for them. With St. Ives, a commercial. Yeah. St. Ives paid for some. So those things. But cars like that, everybody talk about cars in your name. Who's want a car if it ain't a classic? Or something that's you don't want to own a car. Especially back then, everybody leases. Right. Those niggas don't ride around in 96 and 2000. Niggas are getting a new car every year.
True.
Came out. Those niggas went and got Impalas. I'm sure when the Chryslers came out, if they was around, they would have went and jumped in the Chrysler for a minute, or a Bentley, or the Azures when they came out.
Right.
So that's man, nobody bought cars back in the day. We wouldn't believe. You bought lowriders and 56 Chevys and Bel Airs, or 63 Lincoln with the suicide doors.
Right.
You would keep stuff like that, lows, but man, nobody, or maybe a truck that you freak out, Suburban or something like that. But man, you weren't trying to own no goddamn Mercedes. Because they change the body styles every 4 years.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, you want the new one. But that's too deep for niggas that they really never have money. And so that's why a lot of people be like, nigga, I don't want to own no car. Give me a lease. I'll pay the monthly fee and give me a new one when I'm tired of this motherfucker.
Right.
I was mad. I I was riding around in 95 in a 600 B12 Benz. Shit, 99, they came out with the circle backs.
Yeah.
Guess what I went? I went and traded that one in, and as soon as it came out, got me an S500, you know, with the new car. So nobody wanted to keep no cars back then, man. You want the new body styles, bro.
That's about all the questions I kind of had put together for you.
Okay, bro. Well, you know, I'm there for you whenever you need me, Big Reek.
All right.
You know, y'all come over there and check out Bomb first, and you know, check out the content. They come on daily. I'm hitting and missing. Some you might go to sleep on, but some of them be fire. Some of them be fire. Some of them be fire.